Alright, today I'm going to review these two self-defense tools that I got for review from T-Tactical. The Tengu and the Banshee. These are both designed for use with close-quarter fighting techniques like you see in the Libre system, which is developed based on self-defense experience on the street. As the material, G10 was used, which is a fiberglass pressure laminate. It's commonly used for knife handles, very tough material. G10 was chosen because it's affordable, easy to work with, and invisible to metal detectors. These are handmade in Belgium, and I was told the current production output is about 20 per week. So the idea behind these is that they're light and easy to carry, and can be used for self-defense either in a non-lethal way, so pain compliance, jabbing with a point, putting pressure on sensitive areas, using grappling for joint locks, things like that, or in a lethal way if need be, so by attacking soft areas, the eyes, the throat, the side of the neck, arteries. The Tengu is also supposed to be usable for ripping. It's got these serrations here, so the idea is to stab and rip by pulling toward you. And it's got the karambit style ring for retention, so you can hold it in an ice pick grip or with a point up. Personally, I think ice pick grip is definitely the way to go. And the Banshee also has this elastic retention cord here, which I really like. That's a great idea because that allows you to have it in your hand while being able to grip and manipulate things, grapple with an open hand while still having this attached to you. If you wanted to, you could dual wield them, I suppose, which seems a little bit silly, but yeah, the point is you can use other items in that hand as well at the same time. So that is very useful, and it's a nice, simple, straightforward design. It's a spike, and that, I think, suits the material really well, because a spike isn't going to get damaged as quickly as an edge. Before I talk too much, I'll show you the testing first. And my friend Christopher Friis helped with this. He has a lot of experience in unarmed martial arts. At first I tested them on soft tissue. So that's what they're primarily designed for and what they do well. The Tengu is thinner, but doesn't taper as much as the Banshee. I found that the Banshee just penetrates more easily. And yeah, I hate to be hit with that on any part of the body, but would it really go in? The point is bend a tiny bit on this one. And then we went on with the harder tests against the actual skull. So I'm just gonna go for the temple because that's the weaker area of the skull. Oh, there we go. Damn. Yeah, that's effective.
That would work.
Okay, so here's what we got. That looks unpleasant. Alright, how easy is it to get out? Well, that's actually not so bad. Okay, so this is how much penetration we got. And importantly, the tip is undamaged. Nice. Aren't you left-handed?
I am left-handed.
You can get him from the other side then.
Sure can.
Finally, a lefty is good for something.
Pretty much, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wow, that actually comes in handy for one.
I'm a weird hybrid. I draw and write with the left, but for all intents and purposes, otherwise I'm right-handed. Okay, so here we got some damage. Tip is starting to collapse, and I don't think this would be good for much more. It's just not really designed for hard use on substantial targets like that. What would be absolutely brutal is striking the neck.
In the neck.
Either the throat or the side of the neck.
That
would
like
be
the only like deadly target.
Yeah.
If you, anywhere in the chest, you're gonna hit ribs.
Yeah.
Stomach again, pain compliance.
Yeah.
it's a soft target for sure.
Armpit would be brutal for pain compliance. First you ask them nicely to stop, and when they don't, then you hurt them nicely. And when they still don't stop, then you hurt them badly.
That's right.
I mean, assuming that you have the opportunity for that, sometimes it goes so quick that you just have to escalate pretty far anyway. It's a bit of an awkward angle, but I generally like to kind of work downward because you get more out of the skull that way. A little bit elevated to get better force transfer. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, that was just a squishy part. On this one, just go full force, or as much force as you can do while still being accurate, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it went... No, it was just the eyeball, basically. Didn't go through the bone. The most common would just be this angle here. Pointing as a right-handed person, of course. Lefty discrimination. It glanced off the skull and then moved around inside the flesh. This is way squishier. You don't have that much squish on your actual head.
Squish on your head like that.
No. If I think like, would I want to fight an aggressive, tough guy who's built like him with this? No. Give me at least a Bowie knife or a sword. That's the general problem with self-defense. If you're facing somebody who is bigger, stronger, meaner, etc., you're always in trouble, major trouble. So you need a force amplifier, which this is. So as you saw, the Banshee did really well against the bone analog. Especially that first stab on the temple was way more effective than I would have expected, really, considering the material. And against other parts, it doesn't penetrate, but it doesn't really take a lot of damage. So this is what it looked like afterwards. There was some abrasion on the tip, but it was quite easy to fix. All I did was grab some very fine sandpaper, put it on a flat surface, and just grind to reshape the point. So I didn't want to make it too thin to preserve that structural strength so it doesn't collapse. And that's what happened with the Tengu, because the point is a lot thinner. It did collapse and bend over, and there's not a lot of material left to support that. So personally, I much prefer the Banshee over the Tengu. The Tengu, this kind of design would really lend itself more to a sharp steel blade. These can be sharpened to an extent, by the way. You can use sandpaper to make that edge thinner, but of course then you start to compromise its durability. And when you hold it, there's not a whole lot sticking out. This is a pretty short blade overall. And again, on soft targets, stabbing, raking, ripping, etc., it would certainly be effective. It would be very painful. So this would be good as a non-lethal option. Again, for pain compliance, as more of a blunt impact tool, things like that. The problem with that, of course, is you never really know how a situation is going to go. The best way to deal with a self-defense situation, of course, is to not be in it. Just avoid it to begin with. And if you have to defend yourself, really depends on how bad is it. If you draw a tool to begin with, that means you're probably in a serious situation. Either there is an unarmed attacker who is substantially bigger and stronger than you are, and in that case, this is not going to help you that much. Or you're in a really serious situation where you have to fight for your life, and then I'd rather have a steel karambit knife, for example. However, the spike can certainly be used effectively in a lethal way if you absolutely have to. And again, I like this retention here because it makes sure it stays in your hand. You can hit very hard with this, and by putting the thumb on the end, you can prevent it from slipping to an extent. It's still going to happen, as you saw in the slow-mo. This will move in the hand, and that's what limits the penetration. Aside from the maximum available length, of course. Depends on your hand size. If you have smaller hands, more of it is going to stick out. If you have larger hands, you might only be working with this much. So it's definitely a solid concept overall. It faces the same kinds of challenges as other self-defense tools, namely, what happens if it escalates, how easy is it to draw, will you even have time to get to it? In a lot of situations, real-life self-defense situations, people are being jumped and they're being attacked before they're even ready, before they can even pull anything. But if you have the time, like if you anticipate trouble, to put it that way, and you can put this in your hand before, then yeah, this is going to give you an advantage over just being empty-handed. Okay, so let's talk about the price for a moment. It's currently $75 US, including worldwide shipping. Now, I can look at this from two different angles. From the customer perspective, it seems very expensive. I mean, over $70 for a piece of G10, no steel. That's a lot. From the maker's point of view, I can also see that because, again, these are small badge made by hand, so you don't get the benefit of low cost of mass production. So I'm sure there are reasons for the price point. As a reviewer, I gotta be fully honest with you, I would not pay that much for a self-defense tool like this. I like it, and it was effective in the tests, and I'm glad that I had the chance to try it out. It's a good concept, but that's a lot of money to spend on something like this. And it's probably not something that you would get away with carrying everywhere. Considering that it's, all black and tactical looking, and I mean, depends on the local laws. You should definitely inform yourself about that. There may be exceptions because of the material, but depending on where you are, law enforcement might not be super happy about it. Let's put it that way. All right, that's all I've got. So the link is down below, and also a coupon code. You can get 10% off with coupon code SKULL10. So check it out if you're interested. Hope you found the review helpful. Thanks for watching, and have a good one, folks.